Sanji here with another video. What I'd like to talk to you about today is as I was reading the latest manga chapter of One Piece, I had an epiphany about with Kuma. He loses everything, and the last thing that he loses is his sense of self. Um, at the end of the year, with everybody thinking back on the end of the year, what might have, could have, should have been. With Christmas and everything, and everybody getting wrapped up in all these material possessions. We can't forget the most valuable possession that we own is that of our sense of self, retaining one's sense of self. I know a lot of people I see on YouTube, movie stars, etc. They get wrapped up in a persona and they do things, to try to please everybody. And they kind of, in a way, become a slave. Not in the literal sense, with chains, doing hard labor and whatnot, but they lose their sense of self and they become something that they're not. Um, I don't know if Oda's going to go there with this and go that route of, being a metaphorical slave to an ideal versus, being a slave to another person in the literal sense. But it'd be neat to explore that. My thoughts on the chapter itself, I don't think that Kuma himself is going to beat Saturn. I think he's going to hold Saturn off for a while, and then Luffy's going to get recuperated and take him on. Kind of be like, you know what, I know I can't defeat you, but he can. And then Luffy starts fighting him. A lot of people speculate on how Luffy got that food. It could have been Kizaru. I'm not going to rule that out. That is a possibility. He could have, have a change of heart. But I think Kuma could have done it as well because he flew from the other side of the island. And he could have easily picked up that food and dropped it at, on Luffy's feet, or near Luffy as they was flying through the air. One thing you got to realize is that Kuma's been watching Luffy for a very long time. And he knows his strengths, he knows his characteristics just as good as anybody. Plus, he knows his father, Dragon. I don't know if Dragon's the same way as Luffy or not. But I can't believe that, if Garp taught him that when he was little, did he didn't teach Dragon that as well? You need to eat and, you need to fight and train and then eat. Garp taught him that if you go back and look at it. I can't imagine, Garp not teaching Dragon that as well. And Dragon not being the same way. So I think Kuma could have done it. And he knows the weaknesses and strengths of the Straw Hats. And he knows Luffy inside and out. So I think he could have done it. But I just can't emphasize enough that to not to get wrapped up in material possessions and not lose a sense of oneself like Kuma almost did in the story. You can lose possessions in a blink of an eye. It could be a house fire, or you could get in a wreck, and that car or that house that you wrap yourself up in your identity, you can lose that. All it takes is one mistake, one bad day, and all that's gone. But you got to remember that you're the one who created all that. You're the one who bought that or made the money to do that. So, you can have $1 million car and it can go, 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, but it doesn't do anything unless you hop into it and make it do that. So what's more important? Is it the driver that makes it do what it does or the car itself? Which one's more important? You could buy another car. You can't run out and buy another driver necessarily. So you got to think about, what's the most valuable possession that you own? And that's the retention of oneself. That's you. And you can't lose that. You can't become a slave to an ideal or other people. And like when I started this channel, I've always been honest what I thought and what I felt. I know a lot of people might not agree with it, and you kind of learn that the hard way when you put yourself out there. A lot of people aren't going to agree with you, and you can't please everybody. A lot of people are going to, have a lot of criticisms towards your work. You're writing a story and you put it out there, and they're going to say, this is trash, this needs work, this is this is that, and they're trying to make money off of you because they're trying to, talk you into buying their coaching or their services that they render, you know, trying to make you feel bad. And really, they coach or they have those services because they can't write themselves. They can't do themselves, so they try to coach other people on it. And a lot of people that say these things, the most creative thing they ever did is on a bathroom stall somewhere. They don't have the bravery, the courage to put themselves in front of that microphone or that camera and put themselves out there and to do these things. So they cower and, they just cower behind their comments because they're safe. Um, but, like I said before, the most important thing in the world that you can do is retain yourself, remember who you are, stay true to yourself. If you don't say a bunch of lies, you would never have to worry about remembering anything. You don't have anything to uphold. You don't have any burdens you know, to worry about. Okay, how long can I keep this up, or um, how long can I maintain this character that I portray? You can just be yourself and be original and not have to worry about those things and be free. You know, that's one part of being freedom. Of freedom. You got to be able to do whatever you want to do and be yourself. The freedom to be yourself and not be a slave to an ideal or a theory or a persona or a character that you create. But that's all I got to say. If you like what you hear and see, comment, subscribe. Uh, I enjoy making these videos, and I'll enjoy talking about this stuff. Talk back to me, leave me a comment, subscribe. That's all I got to say. Thanks for watching. Sea Salt Sanji, peace.